Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you know, I'm Elizabeth Molina, your beauty guru. Today we are going to be talking about the ugly truth. But before we start talking about that, I'm going to be asking you to do a couple of things. One, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, comment below, and lastly, before I start, is share with someone you love. I am sure there is someone that you like, or I hope love, that you can send all this information to, because why not? Sharing is caring. I will say that every single time on a daily basis. So let's get to it. Let's talk about the truth behind the masks. Yes, I'm talking about face masks. So we have many companies that are currently manufacturing masks, making masks. There was a point in time when there was a shortage of masks, and today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about this topic because it has been a hot topic, a trending topic with the face mask acne and the AKA MASKNE. So here goes. I actually wrote down the list of mask kinds and what they do, and I actually will link a study below as well as the video that I was inspired by. She goes into this in much more detail, like really long detail about the fabrics, the thread counts, all the studies, but I will quickly just give you that link. You guys can look at that video. You guys can also look at the research yourself and the studies. I will link them all below, but let's get to it. So when we want to talk about maskne or face mask acne, which is like happening right now as we speak, in the middle of summer, and masks and hygiene, and I mean, I go into this in all my other videos, but again, for the sake of, you know, wearing masks, school is starting for children, teenagers, starting to go back to work. So here goes. I want to talk about 10 different kinds of fabrics for masks. Again, when you buy a face mask, it is super important to, one, know where you're getting your masks from, right? Like, you want to make sure that you're getting it from a real factory that hopefully has all its certificates and it's up to date with its manufacturing codes, and you want to make sure that they are just doing everything by the book. It is so hard to do that, but you can look at the back of either the box or the shipping label. There's so many ways that you can actually track down where your mask came from. Now, it is a little harder when you are buying in bulk and you don't get to see all of that. It is a little harder when you just buy something like off the street, or an emergency case that you're just buying, you know, something that doesn't have any label on it. That's a little bit more suspicious. But all these things are related to, one, the acne on the face and the bacteria and the spreading of germs and viruses, and two, actually protecting yourself and your family and keeping you safe, because this is what we need to do in today's climate, what's happening with the virus, the big elephant in the room. So let's go. So let's talk about the masks in order that the study did. So mask number one that was tested for fabric, for protection, for keeping in the bacteria in and the bacteria and so this is the way that it was tested. Sorry. So the test was performed to see the fabrics that are actually helping to keep anything from coming out, like any of the actual viruses. I don't want to say the name of viruses, but in general. So there was a test that was done, and this test basically measured what the percentage of keeping this virus contained within your mask, and also keeping anything from coming inside the mask. So it works both ways. So here goes. So this study was done with two different variables, obviously many different fabrics, weaves, textures, and all of those kinds of things, but it was done with the snug fit and when there wasn't a snug fit. So meaning, like, if there was a gap in the mask, and I will show you that in a little bit what that looks like, but you want to make sure that your mask is it's not as tight as possible, because that's not comfortable to wear, and that's not even sustainable to wear unless you have to. And like, thank you so much, healthcare providers, for tolerating that and wearing this for many hours a day. I know that your faces are getting indented with these masks, and you need to wear these to keep yourself safe and keep your family safe. So thank you so much for just being amazing, amazing people and doing this for all of us. But for people who don't need to wear that, you just want to make sure that there's no gap, so that the mask is actually covering this area of your face all the way to your cheekbones and to the bottom, so that there's nothing going in, nothing coming out, and nothing going in. Basically, that's really what you want. So studies show that an N95 mask, which is surgical grade mask, when there was no gap, kept the virus that they tested in particular, kept it inside by 85%, meaning that there was 85% chance that you were safer than contracting or spreading any type of bacteria or germ. And I forget the size that they measured, but it was the size of the virus that they were saying that was like an aerosol. I wish I remember, but I'll link it below. Hopefully I will put it down on the bottom. And then when there was a gap in the mask, meaning that it wasn't a snug fit, that there was, you can basically, so they use a penny to measure the width of what this gap would be like, and I think it's like 9 something, which is like super tiny, but basically it's the thickness of a penny, just to make it easier. So it's the thickness of a little tiny penny, and if that gap is there, meaning that there's no contact from the mask and your skin, that there's actually something going in like air, then there's a 34% chance that the N95 mask is not working, which is something that we should be aware about, because first of all, we're wearing these masks all day. We have to wear them to go into stores, to supermarket. Again, we want to keep ourselves safe. So I'm not saying do not wear your mask. I'm saying follow the guidelines. Also use your common sense. But like I mentioned in my other videos, you have to keep them clean. You have to make sure that you're cleaning your hands when you're touching them, because again, even though the mask is a barrier and it's helping protect you from getting something or from you spreading, the mask is also a surface. And again, depending on that surface, they all harbor bacteria, things get on it, and then you can touch it with your hands and spread those things in anywhere else. So just keep that in mind. So again, the N95 mask in this study, when there was no gap in the mask, it had 85% proven that nothing would escape the mask in terms of safety, virus, etc., and 34% if there was a gap in, so that you know that that's how it's working. The next one was a surgical mask. So the surgical mask is like the common one that we see, usually the white and the blue. Again, sometimes they might look like that, but just make sure when you read your box it says surgical mask on it. This mask, when with no gap, it was 75% chance of safety, meaning that you're not spreading and you're not giving. Also, and when there was a gap in the mask, it was a 22% chance of contaminating or spreading. Like you're only being protected. That's the word that I did search for. You're being protected by 22%, which is significantly. Evan, come here. I'm talking about this study. I'm talking about the protection rate of the mask, and I will go into the fabrics as well, but I just want to give you a quick understanding of what you're doing, because a lot of times we think that by wearing a mask we are completely 100% protected, and that is not always the case. So just be mindful of the mask that you're buying, the kind of coverage that you're having, that it fits your face properly, also that it is not having lots of air gaps, because then really, like, you see how an actual surgical mask with a gap gives you 22% protection, and also an N95 mask with a gap gives you 34% protection, versus the 85% with no gap versus the 75% with no gap. So keep that in mind when you're going out there and not wearing your mask properly. Thirdly, so there was they did another test with cotton quilt. So hey guys, I'm back, and I came back with the culprit of my barking and noises, and I also brought some things to talk about. I brought some props. Just going back, and I have a guest. As you all know, this is Evan. Say hi. he got a haircut, so all his hair is off, but it's okay for summer. So like I was saying, where was I? So I was talking about the cotton quilt. So in this study, they also tested different fabrics and different layers. And so, this is so hard. How do I do this? This guy is like cramping my style. So going back to the study. So in the study, basically, this guy. They also tested different fabrics, not just the N95 or the surgical mask or the regular mask, and they studied a fabric, cotton quilt. So the cotton quilt fabric, really what it is 2 layers of cotton, so it's called cotton quilt because it's double-sided, so you have double protection. And so this fabric actually, this kind of mask actually does 96% with no gap. So 96 protection from a double cotton fabric, meaning that there's 2 layers of fabric on the mask. So that is actually really good. And when there is a gap, it is 2%. So it's crazy, 96% protection when there's no gap and 2% protection when there's a gap. That's a huge gap. So anyways, then they also did one with just regular cotton, like 1 layer. So with cotton, the protection was 79%. And then they also did one with organic cotton. So organic cotton, let me see if you'll let me put him down. Organic cotton. So organic cotton actually performed pretty well. It basically had 82% protection when there was no gap in the mask and 19% protection when there was a gap in the mask. And what I mean by, again, a map, it's like the thickness of a penny. So if a penny can fit in your mask in the nose area or here or in the bottom, then that's considered a gap, and the protection goes significantly, almost always under 60%, which is huge. So I just want you guys to think about that and think about all the dirt and stuff that can get in your face. And it's so easy for this stuff to happen. And this not only can it affect your health, but again, it can affect the acne on your face. And again, all these videos that I'm doing are related to beauty, but there are some gold pieces of nuggets or some gold nuggets in here that will talk about proper hygiene, that will help you with other things. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, so this is just stuff that I research, things that I'm really interested in, and I want to share this information with you guys. But again, please do your own research. Please feel free to look at the studies that I'm linking down below and assess for yourself, because I want to make sure that you have the proper tools to succeed in whatever you are trying to do with your health, your hygiene, and with your acne, as well as I know school is starting and a lot of us have kids, and this is something that we want to think about if we're going to send our kids back to school or however it might be, whatever program they're in. I just want to make sure that you know and that you feel safe with their masks that they're going to be wearing, with the material, and it's good to know what is irritant to the skin, what is not, and versus protector. So a lot of times we think we're going to wear an N95 mask and we're going to be protected, but however, if there's a gap in there, the protection goes significantly less, from like 85% to 34%, which is huge. So again, flannel is really, it's a poly blend. So it's a blend of 65% cotton and 35% polyester. So for this one, what happened to the numbers? I wrote down the cotton, like how to describe it, but I didn't write down the numbers. So I'm just gonna put them up on the screen and you guys will be able to see that. Let me But so the next one is they did a study on chiffon, and what chiffon is, it's a really thin fabric. It's usually like very transparent. It's like a clear. Do I have anything that I can show you? I do not. So what chiffon is made up of 95% polyester and 10% spandex. This one actually did pretty well as well, I think, because it had the poly blend mixed with the spandex, and the spandex actually, I was very surprised because spandex did really well in this research and in this study, and it kind of made sense afterwards because a lot of athleisure, a lot of athletic wear is made out of spandex, which isn't surprising because it is very it wicks the air pretty quickly, it absorbs things, it also blocks things like smells and odors. So it doesn't surprise me that this fabric did really well in terms of keeping stuff out or in, keeping stuff in and keeping stuff out. It's silk. They tested silk with 1 layer, silk with 2 layers, and the best one that tested out with silk with 4 layers. And silk actually did really well. I believe it was high 80s. Which was really shocking because silk is such a thin fabric. But however, because it is a derivative of an animal, and I'm trying to figure this part out. I haven't. If you guys know, please comment below. I would love to know why. But for some reason, silk did really well. It was very breathable, but it also maintained a really good barrier. But it only did well when it was in 4 layers. So that's a lot of fabric. Silk is very expensive. Also, it is very inhumane the way that it is sourced. So before you do that, please look into that. If you want to spend like $55 per mask, I do not recommend getting a silk mask. And again, just to know that if it's 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers, you're doing nothing for yourself unless you just want to have a nice fashion statement and not go anywhere and be home in a mask, which doesn't make sense. So unless it's a 4-layer silk mask, do not waste your money. I'm just going to put that out there. And also, it's very inhumane. So, you're welcome, PETA. Anyways, so the next one, another one that did really well, I think this one performed the best, was actually a hybrid. So I was very shocked to see that hybrid fabrics. On one hand, I was shocked because I was always rooting for the organic cotton because I love anything that's organic and natural and ethically sourced, as well as something that is really, really breathable for the skin and the face. But again, being that it's breathable material and it's not a very wicking material, meaning that like it'll keep the moisture in. Of course it'll dry and stuff like that, but it's just not like a high performer like in spandex or like some sort of spandex blend like an athleisure type of wear, an athletic kind of material. So again, one of the best ones that performed is the hybrid of cotton and chiffon, and I think it also like spandex, and I'm not quite sure what happened, but basically this mask was like 99% effective. Obviously it needs to be a 2-layer mask, so for any mask that is highly effective, like in the high 95, and let me tell you, not the N95, not the surgical mask, not there's another surgical mask with vents. None of those were performing above 90% in terms of protection from getting an airborne virus in or out, like keeping it out or keeping it in. The spread, I think, was like 3 feet, which is a lot, versus when I talk about protection in the 90s, it's like 8 inches. So that means that the bacteria or the virus, whatever you're trying to, will probably only get this far versus something that goes much further and obviously would cause more chaos. And then the other one that did kind of okay was actually the cotton silk. But again, silk is very expensive. And in order for this fabric to perform really well, it needed to be double layer of silk. So 2 layers of silk, 2 layers of cotton, which I'm not sure if you're aware, but first of all, it's a very heavy mask. And if you're going to be wearing it all day, it's going to be not feeling comfortable. Again, you're going to have to wash this. The material is very sensitive. Like, you don't know the wear and tear about it. And it's not sustainable because let's just say you're going to get at least 7 masks because you want to have one for every day of the week, just in case. it's just not sustainable. It's also not financially sustainable in my opinion. I think it'll be really expensive if you get a really high quality double layer cotton with a double layer of silk. It'll probably be in the high 50s, probably, if not more, per mask. Times that times 7, that's a lot of money. But again, to each his own. So there you have it, guys. I hope that you learned something very valuable. I hope that this helps you on your journey with your skin, with your hygiene, with your health. Really hope that you feel safer with this new information, just learning about fabrics. And you can always contact any seller, any company. They should always be more than ready to show you their certificates, where they get their fabrics from. I just encourage you to always ask. They actually really do. People are usually open about this stuff unless they're doing something really shady. But again, people are more than happy to answer questions. And not only that, but this helps the companies to better improve their quality for their clients, for their customers. So again, don't be shy to email a company that you seem to like their mask structure and ask them, hey, what kind of fabric do you use? Do you do double layers? Do you have, does it go all the way up to the ear? Do you have sizings? Like a lot of companies offer that. They offer different sizes. They can actually even do customs if you do like a large enough order. So like, let's say you want to buy some for your kids for when they start school, for yourself, because you're starting to go to work and you want to make sure that you feel safe, also for your family. So that's another option, but just be aware that companies are really receptive to customers reaching out. So I hope that empowers you and that helps you. But most importantly, I hope your face is clear, that this has helped you with your acne questions about MASKNE and different materials and what their purposes are and how they help you. Again, I really suggest an organic cotton or an athletic type of fabric. So those are my 2 suggestions. And again, if you're going to go the disposable route, I really suggest, let me see where it is. I really love this one, and I will link it below. It is from Medline, and I cannot rave about this one. We'll link all of that below. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment below or reach out to me. I will link all the studies as well. I really hope that you found this informative. If you have any other questions about masks or MASKNE or why I prefer certain materials, I can get into that. But I feel like this was a really long video. I thought it would be like a 5-minute video. I'm gonna speak super fast and I'm just gonna tell them all these facts. It's gonna be like that, and it never happened. So guys, I really am asking you to please share this video with someone. I know that every single person is wearing a mask, and if they're not, I really hope that they do, and I hope that this helps them pick a better mask that will make them feel safer, as well as subscribe, comment below, hit the notification bell, and share. I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Bye.